There is a God.
We've got to figure out what rocks we need to create the rock-solid foundation. We used up all the easy rock. There might be some. Let's look down through this creek, see what we find.
Deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains, hidden beneath the whispering pines, stands a weathered barn that has outlasted storms, winters, and the slow march of time. Its boards creak with the weight of history, its scent rich with earth, hay, and the faint memory of firewood smoke. To most, it's just an old building, a relic from another era. But for those who know the man who built it, the barn is something else entirely. For inside those walls, beyond the tools and timber, lies a secret that would shake the quiet mountain community and reveal a side of Eustace Conway few ever imagined. For decades, this man, a modern-day pioneer, a legend of the wild, lived in perfect harmony with nature. But when they opened the doors to his barn, what they found left even his closest friends in disbelief. Eustace Conway has always been more than a man, he's a symbol. To millions who watched him on Mountain Men, he was the embodiment of freedom, the last true frontiersman. Long before cameras followed his every move, he walked away from the world most of us cling to, the cars, the phones, the fluorescent lights, and traded it all for the unfiltered beauty of the land. He built his life by hand, one log, one stone, one campfire at a time. For years he lived in a teepee, moving with the seasons, his days shaped by the sun and his nights kept warm by the fire. People called him eccentric, stubborn, even extreme. But to Eustace, he was just being alive in the truest sense. He founded Turtle Island Preserve, a sprawling 1,000-acre piece of land deep in the Appalachian wilderness, where he taught others what the modern world had forgotten, how to live off the land, how to respect it, and how to find peace and simplicity. To visitors, the place felt like stepping back in time. The hum of insects replaced the buzz of electricity. The clatter of axes rang out where cars should have roared. Eustace welcomed people there, not as students, but as seekers. They came to learn how to build, how to hunt, how to listen to the earth again. Yet, for all the openness he shared, there were parts of his world he kept guarded. Places only he went. Places like the old barn at the edge of the clearing. That barn stood quietly through the years, its doors rarely opened to strangers. Some said it was just storage, tools, saddles, or old wood from projects long finished. Others whispered that it held something more, relics of his past, reminders of a life before Turtle Island. No one really knew, and perhaps that was how Eustace wanted it. In his world, privacy wasn't secrecy, it was sacred. He once said, "A man's life isn't what he owns, it's what he protects." Those words would come to mean more than anyone realized. As the years went by, Eustace became a local legend, both admired and misunderstood. Some saw him as a hero, others as a hermit lost to the wild. His appearance on television brought fame he never sought and attention he never wanted. People came to Turtle Island from across the country, hoping to see the man who lived free of the modern world. But fame has a way of pulling the curtain back, and with it came scrutiny, questions, and the occasional clash with the law over land use, permits, and building codes. Through it all, Eustace remained steady, weathered, like the mountains themselves. Yet those who knew him best could see something in his eyes, a quiet weight, as if there was more to his story than anyone had been told. Then came the day the barn doors finally opened. It wasn't part of a TV episode or a guided tour. It happened quietly, without cameras, without an audience. Only a handful of people were there, close friends, volunteers, and those who had worked beside him for years. The reason for opening it wasn't grand. The roof had begun to sag, and Eustace wanted to make sure it was safe. But what they found inside stopped them cold. Dust danced in the sunlight that streamed through the cracks in the wood, and beneath the layers of hay and old boards lay something unexpected, something that told a story of pain, memory, and a man still wrestling with ghosts from his past. Against the back wall, covered by a tarp and tucked away like an unspoken truth, they found remnants of Eustace's early life, journals filled with his handwriting, photographs of family, and personal mementos from a time before the wilderness claimed him. There were letters he had written but never sent, old tools belonging to his father, and the saddle from his first horse. It was as though the barn had become a vault of the man he used to be, a place where he stored the parts of himself that didn't fit into the world he built. But what truly caught everyone off guard wasn't what they expected to find. It was what they felt. Among the relics was a small wooden box, worn smooth with age. Inside it were sketches, notes, and fragments of plans for structures never built. Ideas for the preserve, dreams for the land, even designs for schools and shelters that would one day teach thousands how to live freely. But scattered between the pages were darker reflections, entries where Eustace wrote of loneliness, frustration, and the toll of carrying a vision the world didn't always understand. "The world wants freedom," one page read, "but fears the price of it." Those words lingered like smoke in the air. They revealed a side of Eustace no one had seen on television, not the teacher or the showman, but the man who fought battles within himself as fiercely as he did against the elements. As the group sifted through the barn's contents, silence filled the space. There were no gasps or shouts, only quiet reverence. It wasn't the discovery of treasure or hidden wealth that stunned them, but the revelation of vulnerability. For years, Eustace had been the image of self-reliance, strong, independent, unshaken. Yet here, in this place, he had kept the pieces of a softer truth. Letters to loved ones who had drifted away, notes about the burden of being the last mountain man, even reflections about death, not as an ending, but as a return to the earth he worshipped. When word of the discovery began to spread among those close to him, people started to see Eustace differently. Not as an untouchable legend, but as a man who had built his freedom from both passion and pain. His barn wasn't a monument to the past. It was a confession, a testament to everything he gave up and everything he carried with him into the wild. It made people wonder if perhaps his life wasn't just an escape from modernity, but also a search for meaning that civilization had stolen. In the days that followed, Eustace himself spoke little about what was found. He allowed those who helped to quietly put things back, to restore the barn to its original order. But those who were there say something in him changed afterward. He began spending more time alone, walking the woods in silence, sometimes stopping by the barn at dusk to sit by its door. Visitors who saw him in those moments said he seemed deep in thought, not sad exactly, but reflective, as if he had finally made peace with something long unresolved. Over the next few weeks, rumors spread beyond the mountain. People speculated wildly, some claiming the barn held gold or ancient artifacts. Others said he was hiding secrets from his family or proof of something mysterious. But those who truly knew Eustace dismissed the gossip. The truth wasn't about riches or scandal. It was about the heart of a man who had spent his life chasing authenticity in a world built on illusion. The barn had simply revealed the cost of that pursuit. To understand why this discovery mattered so deeply, you have to understand what Eustace stood for. He believed that every man is born with a choice, to follow the path laid before him or to carve his own through the wilderness. Most people choose the easy road, paved and predictable. But Eustace? He chose the thorns, the rivers, and the endless climb. He once said, "The things that are hardest to live through are the things that teach you who you are." Maybe that's why he built his world from the ground up, not to run from life, but to face it on his own terms. When people visited Turtle Island after the discovery, they said the place felt different, heavier somehow, yet more alive. The barn, once just another building, became a quiet symbol. Some described it as sacred. Eustace never turned it into a tourist stop, never allowed cameras inside. Instead, he let it stand untouched, a reminder of the truth it had revealed. Those who knew the story said it was as if the barn had become a mirror, not just for Eustace, but for anyone who looked at it. A reflection of how we all hide parts of ourselves, how we all build walls to protect the pain that shapes us. In time, the whispers faded, replaced by respect. People stopped asking what was inside and began asking what it meant. The barn wasn't just part of his land anymore, it was part of his legend. When Mountain Men viewers saw him walking past it in later seasons, they couldn't help but wonder if he thought about those hidden pages, those memories buried under dust. Maybe he did. Maybe he still does. But if you look closely, there's something almost peaceful in the way he carries himself now. as if the barn's secret, once uncovered, set him free in a way no amount of wilderness ever could. Years later, those who worked alongside him say he sometimes talked about legacy, not in the grand sense, but in quiet, human terms. We all leave something behind, he'd say. Some folks leave houses, others leave stories. I just hope mine makes someone want to live closer to the earth. And perhaps that's the real meaning behind what they found. Because within that barn, beneath the weight of memory and time, wasn't just the story of Eustace Conway, it was the story of anyone who's ever struggled to reconcile who they are with who the world expects them to be. The mountains still stand watch over Turtle Island. The barn still leans slightly to the east, its roof patched but strong. And Eustace still walks the land, weathered and wise, as free as the hawks that circle above. What they found in his barn wasn't just relics or journals, it was a revelation. A reminder that even those who seem unshakable carry hidden chapters. The discovery didn't tarnish his image, it deepened it. It reminded everyone that strength and vulnerability can live side by side, that even a man of the wilderness can carry a fragile heart beneath his calloused hands. And so the legend of Eustace Conway endures, not just in the tales of survival or the lessons of nature, but in the silent truth that every man builds a barn of his own. Some fill it with tools and timber, others with memories and regrets. But only a few, like Eustace, dare to open its doors and face what lies within. Because sometimes the most shocking discoveries aren't about what we find, but about what they reveal, about the weight of solitude, the cost of freedom, and the unspoken beauty of a life lived entirely, fiercely, free.